Hi, my name is Matilda Bridges and I am currently in my third year at Macquarie University, doing a Bachelor of Arts with a major in Marketing and minor in Human Resources. What initially drew me to this degree was the complex dynamic between achieving business goals while remaining ethical to business stakeholders. The balance between these two constructs has developed my own marketing philosophies. On the surface, I can acknowledge that the primary function and goal of a business is to sell goods or services in an effort to raise profits for the business. A consequentialist perspective determines an act ethically permissible should it produce a good outcome. Therefore, through a consequentialist lens, a business making more sales is ultimately positive for the business. And therefore, marketing in an effort to raise sales is ethically permissible due to the positive outcome it will have. For example, a consequentialist perspective would determine that Coca-Cola marketing their soft drink ethically correct because of the potential sales it could increase for Coca-Cola. Although this philosophy aligns with the goals of a business, it fails to consider all stakeholders, including customers, suppliers, investors, as well as employees and the environment. Therefore, this perspective cannot be considered holistically ethical. Contrastingly to this, in conjunction with their primary function, I also believe that businesses have an obligation to act in the interests of all stakeholders. This philosophy aligns with the deontological ethical framework. Deontology outlines that the ethics of an act should be determined by the act itself. Additionally, a deontological perspective examines that acts cannot always be justified by their consequences. Deontology supports that we have a moral obligation in some situations, and this must be maintained regardless of the potential outcome. Therefore, from a deontological perspective, businesses have a moral obligation to their stakeholders and should acknowledge this in their marketing. For example, misleading advertising would be considered unethical through a deontological lens because of its failure of its duty to be truthful to consumers. Contrastingly, a consequentialist perspective may see this as morally permissible because it raises sales and profits for a business. This philosophy extends to not only consumers, but to the environment in which businesses operate in. I believe that businesses have a duty to all stakeholders, including employees, customers, and the environment, and thus should act in the interest of their stakeholders. This philosophy supports the deontological moral framework notion that people should not be considered as a mere means to an end. Thus, businesses should not consider their stakeholders as a method of only producing profit, but rather should invest in their stakeholders. This can be done through sustainability practices as well as corporate social responsibility. An example of a business taking on a deontological marketing philosophy is Google, who not only care for the environment through various renewable projects, but also show corporate social responsibility by promoting self-care and encouraging detachment from work, as well as participating in various mental health initiatives. In the future, I would apply this in my future career when considering what company I would like to work for. I think it is crucial to work for a company that has very similar ethical values to you, and therefore I would want to work at a company that considers more than just the profit of their business. Similarly, I would also use this philosophy when considering a marketing campaign in my future career. This philosophy would allow me to consider if the campaign is ethical and whether it considers business stakeholders rather than just the business goals.